Hello all and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be going over the experimental droids Battleforce in Star Wars Legion. Now that this Battleforce has been out for a while, let's break down some of its tactics and really dig deep into the new units. I have played this a few times now, so let's go over a detailed breakdown of what's new, what works, and what doesn't work. We have two new rules with this Battleforce, and these are really the reason why you want to take the Battleforce. This is what changes it and makes it play different from the normal Separatist forces. The first focuses on allowing the IG-100 prototype Magna Guard to be taken as a core unit. The second rule allows you to take advantage of surge tokens to buff your droids. This allows you to choose from 4 buffs, and you have 3 surge tokens to use on it. You can increase their speed by 1 during the next move action, gain 1 aim or 1 dodge token, add 1 black die and 1 white die to the attack pool, or remove up to 2 suppression tokens. All of these are really useful, and it's a unit that has the AI keyword and they perform it as a free action to spend the surge token, etc. The way it's worded is pretty much to make it so these are all free to be done, and it doesn't take actions to do so, and I really appreciate that. These help alleviate the AI keyword troubles a little bit by giving you the ability to do these free actions to get buffs to make those needed keywords not actually that terrible. And due to the way this Battle Force works, B1s are not always the best thing to take. Because of that, and because of some limitations, you're not going to have a lot of droids having a face-up order at all times like you would with normal CIS. The allowed units really start showing the limitations of this force. For Commander, we have Super Tactical Droid, which is always a good choice, and T-Series Tactical Droid, which is the budget but also really good choice. For Special Forces, we have the BX Series Droid Commandos, no strike teams, the IG-100 Magna Guard Prototype Assassin Droids. The Prototype Assassin Droids actually count as core units for list building, so they don't really ever take up Special Forces slots. For core, we can take 0 to 2 B1 Battle Droids and 0 to 2 B2 Battle Droids. For support, we can take Droidicas. And for heavy, we can take the new NR-N99 Persuader class tank droid prototype version. Not the base version, and that is important in what we're going to go into next. The strength of this force is definitely in hand with the weaknesses. You lose access to a lot of heavy hitters of the droid army, and now focus on the specialty teams, of which one is an amazing melee unit, and the other a solid transport that can't transport anymore. Due to losing access to the strongest heroes and being very limited in command card selection, this force is definitely not the best. Now going into a bit more, using the surge token on your commander unit to buff the movement of the Magna Guards in charge is a solid tactic for every version of this list. In fact, if those surge things did not exist, I would say this list is terrible. But with it, there are multiple ways to build this list. And with proper list building, this can be a gun line, a melee focus list, a board control list, etc. The biggest issue is that these lists require a lot of the same unit to do it due to the units being so limited. Because of that, someone like me who only has 1 or 2 of each type of unit and 1 unit of Magna Guards can't run this list without proxying things. And that is probably my biggest complaint about this and the Wookiee Battle Force. Unless you already had a lot of these minis just because you wanted to paint them, you kind of have to chill out like another $100 to be able to run these forces the way they're meant to be run. And that can be a little annoying, especially since the best way to run this list is arguably with a lot of the new Magna Guard type, and a lot means as many as you can fit in. Now let's break down why you take these lists, for better or for worse, and the new Magna Guard Prototype Assassin Droid is definitely an intriguing one. You lose a lot. You lose a comms, a training, Guardian 2, Retinue, 1 health, 1 courage, surge to attack, and your melee goes down from 2 black to 1 black, 1 white. For 12 points less than the base Magna Guard, you lose a lot of hitting power and a lot of versatility, for very little gain. However, the punch of them is still very good and lends to strong melee hits. You're still hitting on average and getting through on average about 3 of those hits, which is fantastic. And with the upgrades you still have access to, you can bring back in some of like the critical 1 or other things that will help you out some. All that being said, losing their surge and losing 1 health and 1 courage is lots, especially for only a 12-point downgrade. In all honesty, running these as core is the only reason they are still considered good. That being said, they are still not a good core unit, in my opinion. They just make this list work a lot better. Without this here, I feel like this list gets very limited. And now something I have almost nothing nice to say about, the new NR-N99 Persuader class tank droid. I was originally very, very harsh on the Persuader class tank droid, because no one in my local group ran it, and on paper it seemed absolutely terrible. In reality, though, it actually is good. I've since fought against people who use it really well, and realize it is not the worst CIS unit like I once thought. Unfortunately, that still goes to Droidica's my beloved that I still love and would never say a bad thing about. This new variation of the NR-N99 Persuader class tank droid loses a lot and does not gain anything worth it. It loses transport and gains Arsenal 3. That is absolutely worthless. I do not know why they did this. Without it being a transport, we now have a weaker unit, as the main reason to take it, being a transport, and what it is built to do, is now gone. It also has its shooting nerfed. On the experimental cannons, you lose impact, and on the repeating blasters, you lose critical 1. I genuinely cannot see a single reason to take this, other than maybe the Ion 1. That is it. This is not a good tank profile for the CIS. This is kind of only sort of okay when you add back the dice it has lost with the surge token. But guess what? You can't do that. This, because it is a tank and because of the class it is, cannot get the benefit from the surge tokens. In general, this is a really not good profile. And I've read this so many times trying to figure out why they did this. And I genuinely can't. For the same amount of points, you lose too much to make it worth it. That being said, it is still technically useful. But I don't see a reason why you would ever take this. Also, it really annoys me you can't take the normal type, because as you can see from a lot of the images I've used, this Battleforce is advertised with this tank transporting something. It is impossible to transport something in this list with this tank, because you can't take the normal type. It is so confusing to me. It is so weird. Anyways, now that my rants about how weird and confusing this is are aside, let's look at an example list number 1. This list does take 2 of the snail droids. I did it because I feel like I need to show how they can still be kind of okay. I brought Kalani along, but I honestly don't think we can bring Kalani along. So imagine that as a normal super tactical droid. I am just going by Legion HQ. I figured there was an FAQ or something I missed in my search. I haven't found anything saying, no, we can't bring him with us, because he technically is a variation of the super tactical droid. I gave him commanding presence and lead by example to kind of get over the fact that the IG Magna Guards have lower courage now. For battle droids, I just brought in a naked unit for the activation. I brought in 3 IG-100 Magna Guards. One has up close and personal, one has the Electro Whip, and one has the RPS-6 for some good anti-tank. For the BX series droid commandos, I brought up close and personal and deflector shields. It's how I personally like to run them. I think they can be kind of tanky, and I have found a lot of situations where the enemy has focused a lot of fire on them, and they kind of just stay there. It's a lot of fun to use. For the snail droid, I put attack protocols and bunker buster shells for the one, and for the other, I put engagement protocols. In general, the protocols really don't matter that much. They barely give buffs. The reasoning for this was just to show that they can be brought. I played this list on Tabletop Simulator. It was pretty okay. The snail droids performed adequately, the Magna Guards did really well, and Kalani was good. He's a good solid super tactical droid loadout. In general, I like this list. I just wish the snail droids could transport. I feel like it would make the list a lot better. Also, you don't really get choices for the command cards. You have to take the command cards you see down there. And all of them are just okay. None of them are fantastic or amazing in my opinion. But okay command cards are still better than bad command cards, so I can't really complain a lot. For example, list number 2, I'm bringing Kalani again for the same reason. 6 IG-100 Magna Guards and 1 series of Droid Commandos. The goal of this list is something I also ran on Tabletop Simulator, and it's just melee charge only. I loved running this. It was a pure meme, and I love running meme lists, and I wanted to highlight the extremes of what these can do. These 6 units of Magna Guards, 2 with the RPS-6 to still give anti-tank and offensive push for a name token. 2 units with Electro Whips, 1 with Hunter and 1 with Tenacity to give them extra melee punch. And then the BX Series Droid Commando with up close and personal deflector shields and concussion grenades because, again, I have a lot of luck running them like this. It's just a way that works. This was a lot of fun to run. I charged as much as I could. I moved up the board as much as I could. And I had a lot of fun in Melee and Legion, which Melee and Legion is iffy, but this was good. This was really good. And because the Magna Guards can still kind of resist lightsaber wielders, they're an amazing counter to them. It does hurt that they're only 1 health. They kind of melt fast. But this was a really fun meme list to run. And these are also the only 2 lists I'm going to highlight. Technically, the best way to run this list is a nice mix of everything. I chose to highlight a nice mix of everything and an extreme. I highly encourage you go and list build yourself and figure out a fun way to run this. The buffs from the little tokens you can spread out with search tokens are fantastic. They're amazing. They really do change the way you play. My biggest complaint about this Battleforce still kind of runs back to how much they changed the Magna Guard. They're so much worse, and I don't feel like they needed to be nerfed that much to be okay. The main reason I say all that is because I did lose this game. But not by much, but by a little. But then again, I only ran this list once on Tabletop Simulator, so I don't know if that's really a way to say, haha, it's bad. As a wrap-up, in a vacuum, the abilities of this Battleforce are fun and unique, but in actual practice it can be hit or miss. It makes you focus on a more speed-focused playstyle, I have found, which is something the droids are lacking in, so it is a fun and unique way to play the droids. I do find it annoying that the transport is not a transport anymore. I think it would make this list a lot better than it actually is. In general, this is a good Battleforce. It is technically better than the Naboo Invasion one, the Separatist Invasion one that everyone calls the Naboo Invasion one because it looks like a Naboo Invasion Battleforce. It is better rules than that. It gives you a more fun and unique way to play than that. And if this is where Separatist Battleforces are going, I think it's good. Despite all of my criticisms of this Battleforce, it is a good Battleforce. It is, in my opinion, a bit better than the Republic one, which we'll be going into in the next few weeks once I get a bit more experience with it. This Battleforce is perfectly okay, and I think that's fine. I hope all of you enjoyed this video. I hope you all have a wonderful day today. If you're watching this on the Sunday it comes out, go Chiefs. I'm really looking forward to the Super Bowl. Have a wonderful day, all. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next Saturday or Sunday.